the heck? Lost my thread. Which is stupid. Because it's right there. It doesn't go anywhere. Gee whiz. Okay. Okay. Or put the dumb thread. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Right where I left it. I'm making a label right now. The label is to attach to the RBF. It says pre-flight. We use that to indicate that the pre-flight knit has been done, so we know that that is ready to test. has to be in the launch mode, which means the pre-flight init. For us before we do the environmental tests, which is what I'm packing up for. Leave Sunday to go to Boston and then right up to Boxborough, where we go to MTS lab, test facility, to do the shake and bake, the vibe test, and the thermal bakeout for RadFxSat, and then we'll be done, with the exception of a bunch of report writing and an MRR. But as far as physically with the satellite, once we've completed this environmental testing next week, it should go into a anti-static bag and sit here in Fox Labs as our Fox-1 Cliff and D right now, and as did Fox-1A, until we are called upon to deliver and integrate it into the P-pod. Man, kind of hard to tie a knot with these stupid gloves. Yep, okay, start again. A little bit bigger this time. A little more to play with. Yay. That worked. Thankfully, Hurricane Matthew decided not to go all the way up the coast like it was originally predicted, which would have been a mess for us trying to get into Boston Sunday. Could have been. So, we're on. Assuming I can get this done and get it packed up. It's pretty much what I'm doing here. We'll pack it into the test pod because we need to take the test pod and it needs to be in the test pod when we do our environmental testing, at least the vibe test. That is not true of the bakeout. So, in order to transport both of them easily, I'll just put it in the test pod to take as we go. We can make a better one of these when we get there if we need to. I printed several copies of the little label so that we can make other ones if we need to. Take right over the little check mark there. The idea is for this not to cover the check. There we go. All right. We have the official for now. Pre-flight init. Yay. So, Fox-1, that is RadFxSat, Fox-1B, has been charged. it is ready to go into the test pod. Test pod has a little orientation cue on it. So we want +X, which is the RBF pin, to go to the left as you look at it from the front. +Y is the receive antenna side. And +Z is what we call the top, because on Earth you can have like an up and down. Get that started in there. Kind of tuck the RBF and pre-flight pin. Let's see, what's the best way to hang that out there? Gets right over the top, huh? No, don't make that. Let's see if we can get it to kind of just lay right there. Yep. It's going to flip and do its thing anyway. So there. It's into the test pod. That was easy. Now, 9 screws later, we'll have the top bolted on here. Actually, that was 12 screws later, not 9. The truth is better than my eyes. I just hope TSA doesn't want to look too closely at this, because they'll have to wait a little while I undo 12 screws and take it out of the test pod. Pardon me. So far, the experience has been good. When I took Fox-1A for delivery, we're checking them in, because in the Pelican case, they can take a pretty rough handling. But when I delivered Fox-1A, I called the TSA, and because I wanted to carry it on board, and said, hey. And they said, we'll meet you there at the gate, at the security. So they met me, and they even sent me through my own metal detector and what have you. And by the time I did that, they'd already put the Pelican case on the belt, run Fox-1A through, and we're standing there waiting for me. He said, everything's fine. So I asked him, hey, since we all came down here early and all that kind of good stuff, would you like to see it? And then they said, sure. So I opened it up, and they looked at it and went, interesting. And then the officer that I was dealing with went with me to the gate, because actually I had to go to the A terminal in order to meet them, but my flight was from BC or D, I forget. So we had to take the little shuttle train, and we rode along and talked a lot about the satellite and his kids' interest in science and things. So that was very good. But for the next trip, which would have been Clifford D, I guess, going to Florida, I just put them in the Pelican and put them on the carry-on, and TSA never said a word. Did the same thing bringing them back. So I guess they're used to seeing CubeSats on the belt there. What can I say? Which is cool. That way we don't have to worry about somebody losing it. The throwing, like I said, ain't so bad, because that's why we have the Pelican cases, because we do ship it via various couriers, so you know the handling is not like you would give it in your house. And being able to take it on the plane with me, then I know that it's not going to get lost or severely abused. And it makes it a lot easier because it doesn't have to count as a checked bag as well. Come on. I'm not doing these any specific tightness because it's only for shipping. We'll have to take it out and do some measurements on it before we ever put it into the testing. Do some final measurements, what's called the CubeSat acceptance checklist, which is to verify the measurements, that everything's in the envelope of the CubeSat requirements. Have those exact numbers for the final run before it goes into environmental testing. These are the plungers, which I just put in upside down. Okay, that's what happens when I walk and chew gum. The plungers are to hold the test pod's simulated pusher plate here up against the deploy switches and springs of the CubeSat, so that it is as if it were in the P-pod for flight. Nestled up against, in our case we usually wind up being against the pusher plate because we go right up to 1.33 kilograms, just slightly under, and they're usually the heaviest, so we wind up being next to the pusher plate. So it's very similar. And we'll tighten those a little bit. Not very much, just to keep it from moving or bouncing on the airplane. Or in my car on the way there. There we go. That's it. RadFxSat in the test pod. Ready to go to Boxborough for environmental testing, vibration test, and bake out the Velcro, right? The Kapton tape. We cover the windows with that so that when we're in the test facility doing the vibe test, to just keep any FOD from getting in there, because there is stuff floating around. So it is simply because this test pod does not have a cover on the plus and minus X side, like the solid wall here, we put the Kapton tape over it. So that kind of takes care of getting her ready to roll. This is the official test pod Pelican case. one last look. The test pod's fairly heavy, so this sucker weighs 5 pounds, I'll bet you. Maybe more. There it is, one last look. I don't know if I'll be able to do much video from the test facility. I know they will not allow cameras inside that are not their own cameras, because the idea is to control many pictures taken there, because there are people like us running around with ITAR sensitive stuff. However, outside of that, when we do any short functional and aliveness tests, which will occur after each of the environmental tests. So after vibe, we'll do a short functional and aliveness test, and after fake out, we'll do a short functional and aliveness test. So we'll do those from the hotel room because we're done at the test facility for the day or what have you. Then I'll do some video. So that's it. RadFxSat in the box, ready to roll. Nothing else to do except pack up rubber gloves, voltmeters, the good old Fox umbilical battery tender. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. RadFxSat on our way to being ready to be delivered.